Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my fellow YouTubers, Facebookians. Welcome to another edition of Living Simply and Fun. I'm your host, Aries. This is Aaron, and before we get to it, I just want to say one of the fun things in life is not just sitting back on your butt and smoking a blunt. I'm talking about an entertainment thing like learning, knowledge, like reading. So, Aaron's got 5 books. We're going to review
we're
them.
actually going to do 5 books, which I'm not going to put all the names of them in the description below. Well, I guess I could. I just won't tag them. Well, I guess I could tag them all. I just want to save myself work. I'm being lazy too. So, anyways, we're talking about hiking. You know, that activity where you get a canvas bag and you stick it on your back and it has all sorts of odds and ends that you might need on your trip.
I want to get a little bag for Moppy.
Which might totally depend on who you are. If you're Moppy, you're going to want dog food, dog cookies, dog snacks, maybe a brush to brush your belly with, a toy or two, a squeaky, and a rawhide chew strip or something.
And if you're Aaron, I don't know what.
If you're me, you're going to want some video games, more video games, some more video games, some books, some more video games, and some more books.
How are you going to take all those video games to the bag?
And maybe some box sets and a TV.
Won't
Trust
happen.
me, I'll have one of those magical bags like the inside of Harpo Marx's coat where he has like everything that he can pull out of there.
We'll just let him
saves.
take this with him for
like
the little TV. See?
So, anyways, we are planning America's expedition here. Into the wilderness. We're looking at going to Yellowstone and Glacier Park, and we're looking at hiking the desert around here too. So let's get this show on the road. We're going to start with the Essential Backpacker, a complete guide for the foot traveler by Adrienne Hall.
It's a female.
Adrienne Hall.
Adrienne Hall is a woman. Kind of looks like a guy, no offense, with the little smile, you know.
Now, I'm just going to talk about all these books in general at the end. But I will do this on a rating scale. I give this a 5. It was informative, but it wasn't great. What did you think of that one?
I'd have to give it 3 because, in my opinion, it was just plain utter crap. And since Aaron's done with this, I do have to return these tomorrow. The only good thing I thought I had was the diagram of how to load stuff, but then again, Aaron here is going to be handling all the loading.
Yes, the best thing to do is know how to load, which of course I know how to load.
And he knows how to read maps.
I don't know how to load everything, but
however, I thought this was interesting because of the equipment checklist was small, but at the same time,
you can get a bunch of
funny.
equipment checklists. They're all over the web, and you can make your own if you know what you're doing.
Well,
the next
exactly.
one, the Backpacker's Field Manual, a comprehensive guide to mastering backcountry. Not backcountry. This isn't Fear and Loathing. Backcountry skills by Rick Curtis. There you go. And this does look like one of those folding blue chairs that you see people get for fishing and stuff.
But it is.
But it's not. It's a backpack. Which is a good backpack.
Since you looked this over?
I actually would give that about a 7, roughly. I thought it was pretty decent, a little wordy at points. But it wasn't bad, and it had some good information in it. It's just, I do think personally it's not the best information you really need. Was that the one that had the recipes in it?
Yes.
That was the part I really enjoyed of that, was the recipes.
Like the pesto sauce.
Yes, making a homemade pesto sauce on the fly. So, with that, we'll move on to the next one here, which is the Backpacker's Pocket Guide from Chris Townsend.
First, I just want to say is if you want to buy this on Amazon, you're paying $95, and I laughed and laughed.
And because of the price and how short it is, that's why I only give it a 1 star. It's actually probably about a 6 star, but because you cannot buy it cheaply and it's overpriced, I can't give it very good.
I am going to be giving it a 2, only because half the crap on the backpacking basics manual right here, stuff that me and Aaron were laughing at, like certain things that, you know, I mean, Aaron the other night says, how many effing hats do you need?
Yes, just an example. This is something I think is absurd. You need a sun hat. Okay, that's to keep sun off your face. You need a waterproof hat. Can't your sun hat be waterproof? In fact, most hats are fine in the water. So you need a waterproof hat. You need a knit hat. Okay, so we're going from sun to snow. and dark skies that quickly. You also need balaclava, which I guess now we're getting to extreme cold temperatures because we basically need a ski hoodie. And then you need a pile-lined cap, which I don't even know what the heck that is, but you need it. You also need wool gloves, liner gloves, and over mitts for your gloves. We're planning a summer hiking trip. I really doubt it's going to get that cold, even on Glacier National Park, where you could lay down on a glacier and freeze your butt off. But, yeah, some of the ideas in here is just absurd. Now, the thing is, I understand what it's saying is prepare for the weather and make sure you bring a hat with you. Because whatever climate you're in, you're probably going to want a hat of some sort. Because if it's too sunny, you're going to get sunburn unless you have some hat to keep the sun off your face. If it's cold, you're going to want something to keep your head warm. So, and if it's super rainy, you're going to want something that's not going to get soaked and then your head's going to get all wet, so you want something where the water will run off, which isn't really a waterproof hat. That's more of like one of those like boat hats that you see the Gorton's fishermen having, so that the water from the sea just kind of rolls off rather than soaking in. Kind of a leatherish rubber, you know. So, the last one of the hiking books here is Basic Essential Backpack. Again, I can't give this very high. I give this about a 4. It's overly priced again, and it's, well, look what you get. 50 pages. 50 pages, and it was $9 new at the time it came out.
Yeah, it was the Essential Backpacker.
I'm not paying $9 for 50 pages.
No.
I mean, that's almost $1 per
keep
$2 per 10 pages.
I got something to get real quick.
Okay, you go and get what you need to get. Now, I want to talk about the ideas behind these books, though. The biggest flaw that I found in them is that when you go backpacking and hiking, there are things you need to know about your surroundings. Which brings me to the 5th book, Glacier National Park by Moon. Moon makes some good books. We reviewed one other by them. This one is also very good. One thing that you want to know is mapping. Topographical maps, whatever. If you don't know how to read a topographical map, learn to read a topographical map. You need to know how to use a compass. If you don't know how to use a compass, learn. Those are important things. You need an actual map that shows you, based on color, the flora and fauna, and whether you're walking a river or whether you're walking in woods or whether you're in a clearing. Yeah, that stuff would be nice to know too. And your major road map is another idea. You need a first aid kit, which is pretty essential. But if there's no poisonous snakes, why bring a snake bite kit? Now, of course, most places do have poisonous snakes on the trails and stuff. They don't just hang out all over the place like you'd find walking through the jungle or something. But you're also going to want to know, is the waterways rough water? Maybe you're sitting there planning out your trip and you say, oh, well, I want to go from here down to here, which is a 20-mile walk. And there's no little branches off of it, but it connects the main road here and here, and there's a bus that picks up over here and here. So I should be able to go straight through. But at this time of year, there's rapids coming through here that's 4 feet deep in the center, and it's whitewater. You are not crossing that on foot. I'm sorry, unless there's one of those ropes strung across and you can haul yourself across and not lose your grip on it, you ain't getting across that water in that weather. So those are things to know too. These books don't talk about how to plan your trip properly very well. They don't talk about what you can eat in case you find yourself in danger. For instance, let's say you fall down a hill and break your leg and you run out of supplies and you're 10 miles away from anything and you don't have anybody with you, and you're trapped. What do you eat? Well, tree bark is usually edible, grass is usually edible, dandelions are edible, but you know, some of them taste nasty by themselves. What can you do to spice it up or make something that tastes good? There is a dandelion soup that's really good. You need to make sure that you have water purification in stuff with you. The book kind of sort of vaguely talks on it, those 4 books. Another thing that's very important to know is the animals year round. Like out in the deserts, you have coyotes and stuff, but we're talking Glacier Park, which has bears, and I think they might have things like wolverines and stuff. But,
they do.
Yes, they do have wolverines. They got bears. They got wolves and coyotes. They've got other things that you have to take an eye out for. But you also want to know what to look out for your own purposes. Like, do you want to look for Bambi and Thumper? If there's no rabbits there, why bother looking for Thumper? Like, I'm going to find me a rabbit. You just ain't going to find one if it's not there. Is there moose? How close can you get to a moose? If you have a moose staring you in the eyes, what do you do? Oh, there's mountain lions up here too. There's rams. Rams actually seem harmless to most people, but they can pack a wallop. You get hit by one, it's like being hit by a Mack truck. It can shatter ribs. And they will charge a human if it feels intimidated or threatened by you. It's showing of strength. They do this during mating season. They ram their heads together. We don't have horns to combat their horns, and they're actually stronger than we are. Yeah, man may think that they're the strongest thing out there. You know, they're arm wrestling and they're beating each other up and picking up cars or whatever. A ram is still going to knock down a 400-pound man.
And could kill.
And could kill. But you know what? You don't have to look for alligators or crocodiles in Glacier National Park because they're not there. So you don't have to look for black mambas because black mambas aren't there. Or fer-de-lances aren't there. You don't have to worry about funnel webs because they're in Australia. You ain't going to find any koalas here. Those things are important to know. The birds that you see in the area, where do they nest? Are they ground nests? Are they endangered? If it's a ground nest and it's not endangered, are their eggs good? Can you cook them? There's ptarmigan up here. Ptarmigan are flightless birds that are pretty easy to catch. They do lay their eggs on the ground, and their eggs are pretty tasty too. So you could survive if you could catch yourself a ptarmigan. These books don't cover all that stuff, and that's why I've said we need to look up certain things.
I want to share something
including
with
first
Mr.
aid,
Aaron.
First response first aid, because how do you treat somebody who's got a broken leg and they're, it's very obvious. You can't just grab their leg and throw a shint on. You have to straighten their leg, but how do you know when it's straight? That's how those books come into play.
I would like to share something with you all. First up, book I bought in Australia. It's called the SAS Survival Guide.
Yes, we own this one.
Yes, I got it in Australia.
This is actually a very good book, very informative, and it's good. This one is the pocket version. It has less info in it, but
actually it's got all the info in it, but minus a few things.
There's no way that it's got all that compacted
They shrank it down. It's the same guy.
This is compact lettering. This is about the same size lettering, almost.
Yes.
So there's no way that this is the entire book, but it's the main meat of it. And then you got this one too.
And that's
Survival
my special
Handbook.
forces.
And this is from the world's elite forces. So you can learn quite a bit from that too.
And then finally, the other two that I found to be very good.
The Wilderness Guide.
The National Outdoor Leadership School. Finally, the one that Fiona got me into hiking.
Which this is from Australia, but Australia is one of the most dangerous places in the world.
20 of the 23
so if
most
you're going to learn how to hike and protect yourself, learn to protect yourself in Australia. You ain't going to do much worse anywhere else. So, however, I will say this: Australia doesn't have the big carnivorous animals that will attack you like bears. At least I've never heard of Australian bears.
There's no bears.
They have hyenas, don't they, or something? But
of the 23 most poisonous snakes in the world, 20 are Australian, including all the top 10.
Yes. However, I wanted to argue as the fer-de-lance tends to be more dangerous, not more poisonous, but more dangerous, because when you encounter a fer-de-lance and you get bit by one, you're out of civilization. There is no one around to treat you. And the anti-venom is very rare and expensive. Whereas in Australia, usually when a person gets bit by one of those 10 most dangerous in the world, they're usually within range of a hospital. They can get to a place. They're not usually alone out in the bush. It does happen though, but the anti-venoms and stuff like that are much easier to obtain and cheaper too.
Fer de Lance, I don't believe is in Australia.
No, it's not. Fer de Lance is in the jungles of
You got
Mexico and
the
Brazil.
Taipan. Cobra, de Lance, boom slang, the
The
crate.
boom slang is supposed to be, by some counts, false. Artificially made up critter by Agatha Christie that some believe is real. And yet I've even seen Wikipedia post pictures and talk about its life expectancy and where it is. But then I've read other things that say the boom slang is a myth that was totally made up by Agatha Christie.
Right there.
Yes, it says so. Even this gives credit to it being real. So is it not? I would wager that it is, but it's probably a name given to it after its original name.
So the other one, I don't know. The tiger snake is one you don't want to mess with.
Yes. So anyways, and the Moon book, I give that a 10.
Yes,
if you're going to Glacier Park, get that book.
I grabbed these
just because she brought them out. These are all pretty much 9s and 10s.
That one's a 10 because
this is a 10s, particularly if you're going to Australia or you live in Australia. If you don't plan to, it's still good.
Yes, this one's very rare to get a hold of.
This one I give about a 8 or 9. It's got a good job, but at the same time, it's not the greatest either. These will definitely help you in the long run if you read them. So I give those both 10s. So there you have it. That's our review.
This book
and this reminds me of a Boy Scout book. It looks like the Weeblo's Handbook.
I believe this is like 1983. What made me laugh about it, everyone, is while I laugh at this book, even though it's a very good book, it says made in Hong Kong.
Yes.
In 1983.
Going back to the Boy Scout thing, I just was thinking, was it Oblivion that had him? Yeah, it was Leowin. You walk around and you have to find this guy, and his name is Weeby Low, which oh wait, that's Weeby Nah. But anyways, close enough to the Boy Scout thing. Weeby Low. I think I'm going to start calling him that. So, anyways, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching our review. Perhaps it was boring. I got tons of names to write down of all the books, so thanks.
I'm surprised I've not done reviews of these in the future. But anyways, please add and subscribe. Please post comments in the box. Please add us a friend. And please give us comments and suggestions. Thank you. And may God bless the world.